Welcome, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, to Black World TV, the new black media, your black and intelligent news source. Well, look what we have here. Jailed Harvey Weinstein tests positive for the coronavirus. You heard it here at Black World TV. Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has tested positive for the coronavirus while in prison for rape and sexual assault, a local newspaper reported. Just days after being transferred to the Wenday Correctional Facility from New York City's Rikers Island, the Oscar-winning producer and convicted sexual rapist is now in medical isolation, an Empire State law enforcement official confirms to Deadline. Under the policy that they cannot comment on an individual's medical record, New York State's Department of Corrections representatives did not respond to requests for direct confirmation. Quote, "Our team has not heard anything like that yet," said Weinstein PR chief. "I can't tell you what I don't know," the producer's personal rep added. Well, let me pause on that for a second. We remember how they did Jeffrey Epstein, the notorious and infamous sexual predator, also friend of President Donald Trump. At least in the past. We can't forget how Jeffrey Epstein was so-called found dead in his cell mysteriously, and now all of a sudden Weinstein has the coronavirus and being moved to quote isolation, or maybe another way for them to slip him out. But I find a lot of these cases dealing with these white executives, these white politicians, these white high-profile males in our society, how they always seem to get away with these little antics of not having to do the normal things everyone else has to do. So despite him being who he is, he's a criminal. He's doing time now. He shouldn't be given any special privileges. But yes, I know, because he has the coronavirus, he has to be placed in isolation. Well, let's see how this turns out. And I digress. So, moved to Wenday on March 18th, the just-turned 68-year-old Weinstein is one of two prisoners at the 961 capacity maximum security facility just east of Buffalo who was put in isolation. So he's just one of two prisoners so far that's been put in isolation after testing positive for the coronavirus. As the global pandemic spreads and surges, New York State has taken the biggest hit domestically of the ever-expanding coronavirus. To that, more than 43,000 prisoners in the state's already overburdened system are increasingly seen as a high-risk category. Already, around 40 inmates at Rikers have reportedly been found positive for COVID-19 in the past week, coinciding with Weinstein's time in that New York City hellhole. Well, let me just pause for a second on that. We're only talking about Rikers Island. Can you imagine all the other prisons spread across the United Snakes of America? How many black and brown people that they have in the prisons, and our politicians, our lawmakers, none of them really have addressed this issue on the prison system and the coronavirus and what they're doing to combat it? Have you noticed that they're quite silent on that issue? Sure, some of the jails have let out people, but who were those people? Did they happen to be mostly white people? What type of people were let out? The racial makeup, the percentages, because all things fair in the United States of America, nothing is fair when it comes to race. And that's why we have to pose these questions. But I digress. So it is unclear if Weinstein himself contracted the disease at the East River complex or when he was in a hospital in Manhattan over the past few weeks. In a testament to the power of local journalism, among other things, the Niagara Gazette first reported Weinstein's condition earlier today. On February 24th, the once mercurial mogul was found guilty by a New York jury of 2 sex crime felony charges after a nearly 6-week trial. Allegedly hobbled by health issues and often in court with a much mocked walker. Yeah, because we all know it's fake. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years behind bars on March 11th. And boy, was that an eye-opener. For all the naysayers, that is. Suffering from chest pains, the Pulp Fiction producer was back in New York City's Bellevue that same day for a second stint, literally. First admitted to America's oldest public hospital almost immediately after being convicted late last month, Weinstein had only been out of Bellevue a mere 6 days. A few days after the second Bellevue sojourn, Weinstein was moved again to Rikers' vast North Infirmary Command, where he remained until the move to Wenday last week. In an America that has already shut down in many respects, today's news will add a further complication, to put it mildly, to plans for an appeal of the New York case and the extradition of Weinstein to Los Angeles to face multiple sex crime charges out west, charges that were made public by re-election seeking LA County DA Jackie Lacey on January 6th, the opening day of Weinstein's New York City trial. First arrested New York in late May 2018, Weinstein initially faced 2 counts of predatory sexual assault, 1 count of criminal sexual act in the first degree, and 1 count each of first-degree rape and third-degree rape in New York. Subject to travel restrictions reinforced last August 7th, he had been out on a $5 million bail after entering a not guilty plea on July 9th, 2018. Weinstein entered a plea of not guilty again on August 26th last year when a new indictment was added. Accused by Ashley Judd in a now temporarily halted case, failing to get a sex trafficking class action tossed out, and the subject of a more recent lawsuit from a woman who says he abused her when she was 16 in 2002, Weinstein is also facing allegations from close to 100 other women who say he sexually assaulted or sexually harassed them. Over the past few months, several of those individuals are refusing to participate in a potential $25 million overarching settlement that is part of an overall $45 million deal on the table. Using terms like insulting to describe the proposed settlement, on March 9th, several Weinstein accusers publicly called on New York Attorney General Letitia James to reject that proposed multi-million-dollar settlement with Weinstein and his former company, a deal that would see millions more for lawyers and former members of the Weinstein Company board with no admission of guilt on the part of Weinstein himself. Again, and as I close this broadcast, let me just remind some of the racists who might come across this video and might want to point your finger. Let it just be known that this, again, is an example when we tell you that it's very rare that you guys are held accountable or you take accountability and responsibility for your actions. Hence, what I just read to you regarding Harvey Weinstein, the now guilty sexual rapist. This is Black World TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next broadcast. Black World TV, the new black media, your black and intelligent news source. Peace out.